Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. We're rocking here live in person here at the Beanbag Coffee and Tea Shop, and we are excited to get this evening started with you all about some things that need to be taught and said from this wonderful book and series that we are discussing. So while y'all are coming in right now, I'm gonna ask you all, y'all know how we do, share if you care. Let's get these numbers up. Let's let people know that we are live. This is important.
Yes.
I know it's not talking about miracles and all the kind of stuff, but the miracle of it is that we're alive today. So,
For sure.
so share. Let everybody know that you are here. Tag somebody. We're gonna rock. We're gonna get to getting right now on this very evening. So without further ado, y'all know the master teacher. She is here tonight. She is here. She's done such a great job. Y'all throw some hearts and likes in the comments if you have been blessed by this series, and this series is really just helping you. I'll do it from my own end. So, but seriously, throw some hearts and likes up in there, and we're gonna get started tonight. Y'all ready?
Ready.
Let's
Ready.
go.
All right. Well, good evening, family. So glad to be with y'all on week 6 of the book Not a Fan by Kyle Idleman. Last week we crossed into section 2 of the book, which is an invitation to follow. And we also talked about, so we did a little bit of a recap, as well as began chapter 8, which is the first chapter in this second section, which was called Anyone, an Open Invitation. We know what that invitation is. Our lives depend greatly on that invitation. We're so thankful for that invitation every day. So we're moving right along into chapter 9 today, which is called Come After Me, a Passionate Pursuit. And I love this chapter because I love a good love story. I'm all about, a rom-com movie.
Yeah.
I love a good love book. I love a good real life love story. So Come After Me sounds like the title of a really awesome movie that I want to watch. Yeah. I know guys don't really get into it as much.
Yeah,
but
y'all, you talk about your Lifetime stuff now. You know,
it does sound like a Lifetime movie.
This is a co-ed life group.
That's okay. Men ought to appreciate love too. Anyway, so I loved everything about chapter 9 because it just starts off and he's literally talking about all this love stuff, about what we as humans do when we are pursuing someone that we love or have interest in, and all the hoops that we're willing to jump through. And then it gets right in there to hit us in the face though. Because after that, he talks about all what we do in the name of love, how he rode on a bike 80 miles to go visit his wife somewhere else in Kansas, to go, And then Kyle Idleman says, well, when I reflect back on my relationship with God, I can't say that I have any great love stories to share. I don't know that I've made a grand gesture like that for God. And the interesting thing is that oftentimes we actually don't. We don't do those same things for him. And that's exactly what he's referring to in Luke chapter 9. He's talking about that love coming after him. So the first question that came to my mind, the slap in the face, as I told you, was this: do we pursue Christ the way we pursue our love interests?
You gonna ask me? I'm the wrong person.
I said we. Anybody online.
Yeah, anybody online, not me.
Not you. Not necessarily.
I know, but yeah.
You, but Luke 9:23, yes. It says, if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up the cross daily and follow me. That is a grand gesture.
Yeah.
And in just a few, we're going to talk about denying ourselves, what that sacrifice really means from chapter 10. But, it got me to thinking, and I guess I'm like Kyle Idleman. And I'm like, I don't know that I've ever had to be in a situation where I've even had to make a grand gesture like that. We are so blessed to live in a country where we can practice whatever religion or faith we choose, you know, where in other countries people are dying for their faith. Nobody much bothers us of anything. We have all this freedom of choice and this free will that God gave us. And look what we do with it.
Yeah.
So he uses a really formal term for the term I'm about to use. He calls it, there's a section, I think it's the first section in here. Oh no, it's the second section. It says cohabitating with Jesus. And I'm gonna put it in the terms that we're used to, which is basically, let's do another quick differentiation of fans and followers. Fans want to shack up with Jesus.
Jesus, shack up.
Fans want to shack up with Jesus, right? And I have been guilty of wanting to shack up with Jesus. So please, disclaimer, I need for y'all to know that as we are talking about this, and I'm not going to include him, as I am talking about this is not from a hypocritical place. This is from a learning and growing and utilizing myself as the teaching tool. So when I'm saying certain things, I've been a fan. I can be a fan. I have fan moments. I'm working through it. So I don't want you to think certainly that I'm a hypocrite, but I want to speak the truth to life and to power. And the fact of the matter is that if we are walking in fandom and not fellowship, a lot of times we want to shack up with Jesus. We want all of the reward,
but
none of the sacrifice,
responsibilities,
none of the responsibility, none of any of that. And that just doesn't fare well, because that's a one-sided relationship.
Yeah, and nobody wants to be in a one-sided relationship.
No.
It's just, I mean, what they say, the best thing to be 100 and 100.
100 and 100. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of times because we take God for granted because we know he's ever loving, no matter what we do. You know what I'm saying? That we don't realize that we are still in a relationship with him the same way we are in a relationship as brother and sister. You know, like, I have to bring 100 or as close as I can to it. You got to bring 100.
Yeah.
You know, in my relationship with my husband or my children, we can't just be bringing 30 and 40%. We have to bring 100. So why do we do God any differently? But yet and still, that's the way we do them. So a lot of times, remember, put yourself in God's perspective. You don't want nobody shacking up with you.
Nope.
You don't want to be them sitting on your coattails. Yeah. He doesn't want the same thing either. And though he is a parent, and if you're a parent, you'll truly understand this. No matter what your children do, no matter how far they stray, we're gonna pick them up and carry them. Or push them along at a certain point, but we're not gonna give up on them. And that's the same way with God. But he wants and deserves better from us. So fans, we want to shack up with Jesus. But the problem with that, here's point number 1 for chapter 9, is the fact that there is no covering without commitment.
Hold on, y'all gotta write that down. There's no covering without commitment. That's point number 1 tonight. Y'all gotta write it down.
There is absolutely no covering without commitment.
Whew.
Now, is God still going to protect those who have not come into the fold from danger? Absolutely. Can you still be blessed without having come into the fold? Absolutely. The fact that you're breathing and you have not made a commitment is proof that you're blessed. Absolutely. But can you receive the covering, the ultimate protection, the ultimate favor? Yeah. Can you have that ultimate peace that surpasses all understanding? Can you be assured that God's got your back and your sides, your front, your coming and your going? That's a whole different different thing. When we are not covered, and that's the same thing with marriage, y'all. There's no covering without commitment. You can shack up all day long, and you can let the why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? You can give somebody your milk for free, but you're still not going to get the covering, because the covering comes with not just a commitment, but check this out, a covenant.
Yeah.
Without covenant, you got to have the covenant. And so this is what, I love this paragraph on page 134. I'm going to read it for y'all because this is what we do to Jesus. It says this. It says in the satirical magazine, The Door, Daniel Murphy suggests that unmarried couples living together should share the following vows. And these are also the vows that we make to God where we don't want to have a commitment. So it says, I, John, take you, Mary, to be my cohabitant, my co-shacker upper, to have sex with and to share bills with. I'll be around while things are good, but I probably won't be if things get tough. If you should get a cold, I'll run to the drugstore with some medicine. If you get sick to the point where you can no longer meet my needs, then I'll have to move on. Forsaking many others, not all others, I will be more or less faithful to you as long as it feels good to me. If we should break up, it doesn't mean this wasn't special for me. I commit to live with you as long as this works out. And if we were real with ourselves, like really, 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 really real with ourselves, we do that or we've done that.
Oh yeah.
We treat God like that. Like that's the vow.
Consistently.
Like, yeah, people who are unmarried and living together, which again, using myself as the teaching tool. This is not me being hypocritical, because been there, done that, got the t-shirt. But there's no covering in that. There's absolutely no covering. There's no assurance of your safety, your peace, your joy, none of that in that type of living situation. And it's the same with God. So we've got to make sure that we're making that commitment so that we can enjoy those exclusive member benefits. Family benefits, right? Family benefits. That's what we want. There's no covering without commitment. Point number 2. You're not pursuing Jesus if you're only entertaining the relationship with him, which is really a situationship, sidebar, for the approval of others. If I'm only in the saying I'm in a relationship with Jesus so that I can appease my mama or I can appease the folks around me, I'm not pursuing him.
Right.
I'm not coming after him. And what I like, there's a quote from the book that I really like. It says, one of the reasons fans don't come after Jesus is that they've never been given the opportunity to make their own choice about him. If you grew up in the church like us, it is a real possibility that you were voluntold about what your relationship with Jesus was going to be, right?
Yep. Yeah, we see evidence of it now.
Absolutely. And that is the reason why, people get to 18, or they may even get all the way up to 30, and at a point they either get burnt out or church hurt because somebody pushed them instead of allowing them to have the space to pursue him. We've got to be careful with that. Yeah. That was a real moment for me reading that, because I had to think in my spirit, like, have I been doing my son like that? Have I been doing Nehemiah like that? I got to make sure that while I am training up a child in the way that he should go, that he's choosing that path for himself. But that's the reason why we struggle with that. So this is another point, though we've got out of section 1 where we're defining, what's a fan, what's a follower, still another defining moment for us to really think about, am I a Christian because that was the only acceptable thing to be all of my life? Why do I believe what I believe? Why do I say what I say? Why do I do what I do? Is it because somebody told me that, or did I discover, did I learn, did I grow on my own into this?
And that's a big thing, because you're hearing people now veering away from quote-unquote Christianity because they're trying to discover itself.
Yes.
And they switch out the terms spirituality with universe.
Yes,
energy.
The universe told the energy.
Yeah.
And if one more person
vibes.
And if one more person manifests something.
Oh God, shut up.
I know some folks don't like that because they be manifesting stuff all over here. But the enemy got a certain level of power too.
Yeah, oh absolutely.
So while you manifesting stuff, you better make sure that it's within the will of God.
Yep. Because we can manifest some demonic things.
We can, because I still have free will.
Yep.
And guess what? The enemy listens to my prayers just as much as the Lord does.
Absolutely.
So while I'm manifesting things out to the atmosphere, if I'm not seeking the Lord for that, well, there's somebody else there ready to take my order. So y'all be careful with that manifesting.
I think it's almost like, we're talking about fan follower kind of deal, really deciphering those two. I feel as if a lot of people, quote unquote, been in church hurt, or they've been raised in the church. They use words and switch them out, trying to make them synonymous of one another, which are really not.
No.
And we're seeing now, really after this pandemic, how people are really manifesting a lot of things. And it's like what you said beforehand, they want all of the blessings really without the blessor.
Exactly.
So that's what.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's really no happiness in
It's not.
that. It's temporary. It's temporal.
It is, but there's no I like what you said. There's no happiness because if I gotta manifest this on my own, if I gotta carry this load on my own,
and we have a savior.
Exactly. Who's
taking
taking care of it for me. So why do I gotta work that hard? I don't want to manifest anything. I don't want to manifest anything that is not inside the will of the Lord for my life. Period. And the point blank.
That's how you know we don't have our shoes on. We've all said period at the same time.
Period. Because I already took my lashings. I already took my lashings trying to do a manifest on my own. So no, thanks. I'm good. Yeah. Thank you, sweetness, on that. But along that line where people are trying to evolve and do all this and that, like you said, it's because of the church hurt. Yeah. It's because of the burnout, which leads me to my third and final point for chapter 8, addressing the burnout. It's like with any love relationship. If you've been in a relationship with someone for a long time, or even if you've been in a marriage for a long time, after a while, it ain't all roses and butterflies and sunshine and rainbows. Every day. Like it's not like that. And then after we get comfortable, sometimes we do we lose some of the passion because we're not working as hard because we're the excitement's gone away, right? Mm-hmm. So there's another quote that I love that kind of spun into my last point, and it said, "Extravagant and sacrificial acts of love and devotion will restore the feelings and passions that we originally had for Christ." You've got to go ahead, just like we have to do when we lose the passion in our relationships. Sometimes you got to go back to the basics, the absolute basics. Revelations 2:4-5 says this, "I hold this against you. You have forsaken your first love. Remember the height from which you have fallen. Repent and do the things you did at first. If you do not repent, I will come to you and remove your lampstand from its place." What God is telling us, or Jesus is telling us there, is like, come back to me. Let's get back to loving. Let's get back to our one-on-one relationship. And in order to do that, it's going to take the same grand gestures that you started out with. I loved on Sunday how you asked us, you remember the day that you got baptized? Do you remember the day that you were saved? Yeah. Weren't you excited on that day? Yeah. Very excited, right? So excited to be there. I'm going to do everything right. Yep. Whole life's going to be different.
Whole life, yeah.
And it is for a while. Now we want to do everything. We're so holy.
Like what it says in chapter 10, fanatics.
We so holy. We're so excited. We want to convert everybody. And I absolutely love that. So I'm not making a joke like that's not important. I absolutely love that vigor. But then life happens.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then we lose some of that vigor. And particularly if we're still babes in Christ, when we get hit with a 1-2, we're like, hey, I went down in that water. It's not supposed to be like this anymore. And that's not quite the way things work. But the point is, when life happens, a lot of times we do end up, getting away from the things that make God feel special.
I think when you said something about the water, going down in the water, I think a lot of people have a false pretense of what they think they're going down in the water is going to take away every pain and issue or just whatever, away.
Absolutely.
And this is really just getting ahead of schedule. But a lot of times the gospel has not been presented in a way that's really all the way true. We take bits and pieces of it to make it convenient.
Yes, we do.
I've been guilty. I'll be honest with you. I've been guilty. Not wanting to say certain things. I'm scared to step on toes. But if God has truly called us to be followers, He wants us all the way in. And that means also as followers, our job is to explain the gospel to somebody that doesn't know the gospel or even help somebody along the way through a situation. We have to get the brutal, honest truth. I mean, that's just, a lot of people don't want to hear truth. And so what they'll do is they'll make every excuse under the sun.
Yes,
But
it
I
will.
think as followers, we got to stay committed to giving the totality of the gospel, the good, bad, ugly,
Absolutely.
and the indifferent as well.
Yes.
And just just being honest,
Yeah.
with people. So one of the things I like, Rachel, in this book, we're on page 139. It's talking about people losing that luster and that zeal for Christ and everything else. I really like this verse here, Psalm 63 and 8.
Yes.
Can I read that real quick?
Yes, please
I'm gonna read it
do.
from the. This is Rachel's favorite version of the Bible, the CEV.
Yes,
She's
it
got me on this one. I was
is.
NIV, NLT message person because it's easier for me, but I really believe CEV is really good too. It says this in Psalms 63:8, talking about recommitting, because we don't want to just talk about what we're not doing, but we want to have an action plan how to get to following
Absolutely.
away from the fan setting as well. So it says this. I think I need to go up really to
Go
verse
ahead.
7 in Psalm 63. It says, "You have helped me, and I sing happy songs in the shadow of your wings." And verse 8 says, "I stay close to you, and your powerful arm supports me." This is comforting right here.
Yes, it
All
is.
who want to kill me will end up in the ground. Swords will run through them, and wild dogs will eat them. Because of you, our God, the King will celebrate with your faithful followers, but liars will be silent. So it's almost like, all the negativity. Wow, that's a blessing. All the negativity that happens around us, that ought to be like right there enough for us to recommit to God. I mean, all the liars will be silent. Hush, swords will go through that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Your hands are with me.
Yes.
I mean, as a follower, y'all, what a blessing that is right there. I mean, recommitting to God. If you ain't got another reason to recommit,
I'm telling you, just right there.
Psalm 63, I can almost preach that. I don't know how to go back and get that one day. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
put a pin in it. I'll be looking for
Seriously.
that.
That's
That's excellent. I love that verse too, though. I really do.
it's a good passage.
I do. It is. It's an excellent passage. An excellent passage about what we need to do. And it's easy, though. It's still easy. The action
really is.
plan is still easy.
Yeah.
Just cling to God.
Yep.
Seek Him first.
And it's really, I mean, that's the simplest thing to do.
It is. Totally. Simplest thing to do. So, chapter 9, Come After Me. One of my favorite chapters because it reminds me of good old love story. And at the end of the day, God wants to have that good old love story relationship with us.
Yeah.
And for all that He does for us, I think He's due that. If that's all you want with me is a little of my time.
I mean,
You want to love on me? You want me to allow you to love me?
that's
Come on.
And that's all he's asking for.
Come on.
That's literally, that's
on.
all he's asking for.
Come on. Yes. So, chapter 10 is entitled Deny. Woo. A Total Surrender. So, Pastor Q, when you think of denying yourself, and anyone else who's online, please put this in the chat. I'm going to wait till there's at least one something in the chat. What does it mean when you think about denying yourself? What does that mean?
What does it mean to deny myself? It's really just putting myself last and completely shutting me down and just doing the will of God. I mean, that's just it. And honestly, denial is never comfortable.
No.
Because it's rejecting the things that you want. And you know how it is that when you've been rejected, it doesn't feel good. But now it's also, denying myself also is really just putting God first and really want to hear what He wants.
Yes.
And I'll be honest with you, it's not easy sometimes to deny myself. It's really
Never
not.
easy. When is it easy?
It's really not. I mean, y'all, this has been the most transparent I think I've really been. This pandemic really made me more transparent.
That's awesome.
It's just not. I have my own needs. I got my own wants. I got my own desires. I got my own. I mean, I have all of that. But it's like God's like, I'm trying to meet all those needs and wants and desires into a whole different level. But that denying yourself, it's a daily, throughout the day. It's a daily process. It's big. It's big.
It is. It's big and it's hard because we all want to be happy. We all want to do what makes me feel good. I'm about to talk about that in just a minute. Like all that stuff. We all want that, but that's just not the reality of life, because
it's really not.
Everything that we have a propensity for, it doesn't mean that it's good for us. Just because I like it don't mean it's good. It's just like clothes. Just because they make it in my size doesn't mean I'm supposed to put it on. So, there's a part where I have to deny myself. And what the denial of self to me means, Miss Lucinda, yes. We love because he first loved us. How intimate. Absolutely.
My mother wrote in there, the best love story ever.
Yes. It is the best love story ever. Period. And we just have to fill in the blanks. He's done the whole thing. For me, denying oneself means to strip myself away of my personal desires. And check this out, my personal identity. What I identify with. Particularly those things that do not align with what God would have for me.
Yeah.
Strip myself of my identity, my human, my fleshly identity, and my human and fleshly desires. Y'all, ain't gonna lie to you. Nah, I'm not there yet. I'm growing. One thing I don't want to do to y'all is lie to you. I'm growing.
Come on, transparency.
For the transparency, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna pretend I do anything that or I'm perfect or have mastered something that I know I haven't. Growing on that, stripping myself of everything that just isn't of God. I'm working on it though, and this book has really put me in a place. It's making me reflect, which is why again, pivotal books like this. I think it's every 5 to 10 years. Read them again. So denial of self is all that we've been talking about. There's a quote on there that was in the book that just hit me right in the face of chapter 10, right, getting it started. And it said, a fan will try and accept the invitation of Christ to follow, but they don't want to say no to themselves. They don't want to do the very thing that Luke 9:23 says we have to do. If we're going to come after him, you have to deny yourself. Whatever you're trying to do, let that go.
Yeah.
It's not about you. It's not about your will. It's not about your way. You can't even see past right now. So we can't possibly be following you and what you want to do. We can't be following me and what I want to do. Deny myself. But people, we don't want to do that though.
No, we don't. We really don't.
We don't want to do that. And that's so hard. And then you know what makes it harder? Society.
Yeah.
This is the question that came up for me for chapter 10. How can we practice denying ourselves in a world that promotes self-satisfaction?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, because everything you put in front of you is all about self.
All about self-care.
Yeah.
Personal boundaries.
Yep.
Self-love. Do what makes you happy. And don't get me wrong. For people like me who have a hard time, who have struggled maybe with self-esteem issues and things like that, and they're seeking of other people's approval. Yeah, for someone like me, self-care or personal boundaries, that's all important. But I feel like we're taking it a lot too far in society. We had a real live problem with being infatuated with self right now. Let me give y'all an example. I was at a birthday gathering about a month ago, and we went around the table and we were giving words of encouragement, of empowerment to the honoree of the night. And I was selected to go last. And so very, very wonderful, beautiful words that were given to the birthday honoree. But there was one message. There were like 9 of us at the table, so that means that there were 7 people. We sat through and listened. The birthday girl and I sat through and listened, and the singular message was, do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. And then here's little old me, who's been teaching not a fan for a few weeks.
Oh, it's gonna get good.
Whoops. It's your super saved friend at the table who says, well, that's all well and good, ladies. That's lovely. You should certainly do some things for yourself that you love. But when it comes to the direction of your life, stay in the will of God.
They said best for last.
Yeah, don't just do what you want to do, because if what you want to do does not align with the will and way of God, you're about to be so far left. You're gonna be further left than you are right now. We have to make sure that our will does not contradict the will of God.
Yeah, that's good.
We have to do that. So in this self-care thing, it really needs to be, it's not do what makes you happy, not just self-care, whatever. It should be do what pleases God, or do what is necessary to fulfill your life's passion and purpose, which also comes from God.
Right.
In this new world that we're living in right now, when is the last time you heard a message about personal responsibility for a societal or community wellness? When's the last time? We used to have PSAs, about that.
Yeah.
I don't really see them anymore. Or when's the last time a discouraged behavior, that had negative behavior that had an impact on others? When's the last time we've been real about that? It might feel good to you, but how does it fare for others? We have to be mindful of that. I get again that these messages are supposed to be about finding balance, but the messages that we are giving right now have become destructively selfish and counterproductive. Y'all hear that? Destructively selfish and counterproductive, because they give us permission to do things that I enjoy doing. You know what I enjoy doing? Permission to be a flake. Permission to bail on people and situations. That's what it gives me. When you tell me self-care, personal boundaries, Rachel, have personal boundaries. You gave me permission. Good evening, y'all. Good evening. I see some of my favorite people coming in. That gives me permission to flake or bail, and I don't really you shouldn't give me permission to do that. It also gives people permission not to be people of honor and integrity. Be careful with that self-care stuff. Totally be careful. So here's my first point about chapter 10. Knowing what we know about where society is right now with all the self-satisfaction, self-care, or whatever, it's no wonder that point number 1 is so true. Denying ourselves for Christ's sake is the clearest evidence of our committed love.
Got to show something, basically.
Yes. You gotta
show something.
Yes,
if you're gonna be in a relationship, you're gonna be there. You gotta show what you're putting into the situation.
Yes, and that is to say that all my selfish desires, everything that I want, there's some things that don't align with what you may need, and so I'm gonna have to let some of those things go. Mm-hmm. And that's in any relationship, and we be quick to do that when we first fall in love, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Or we get in our little relationships, or this, that, and the third, or even in marriages, people have mastered doing that. Yeah, I know. But like with Christ, it's so difficult. It seems to be so difficult. But the denial of ourselves for Christ's sake is the clearest evidence of our committed love. I love this quote from the text as well. It says, a follower makes a decision every day to deny him or herself and choose Jesus, even if it costs everything. And that's so true, because our sacrifices demonstrate our commitment, especially when it is something we love. And that usually has to do, when it's something we love in relationship, it usually has to do with comfort, convenience, or walking away from a more desired path. Period. Another life lesson. So my husband is a late bloomer in marriage. He talks about this all the time. It's okay.
Good guy.
It's okay. He got
That's my brother.
He said, I don't know where you're going with this, but it ain't me. He said, no, this is a story he always tells. He always tells us, so it's okay. He's a late bloomer in marriage. My husband got married to me when he was 44 years old. He spent a lot of time calling his own shots, doing things his own way, and decided God, give it. Don't come in here starting nothing.
He said he got to give all that up.
All that freedom, and he loves alone time. You know, he has jobs, a very high, profile customer-facing job, where he's excellent at it. But after he's given the world everything, the last thing he wants to do is come home and have to rehash out his day was. And so that was one thing that he had to give up, that solitude, that comfort, that convenience.
Talk to him.
Because it was comfortable and convenient to be.
For real. I mean, seriously. I mean, y'all, we in life group. I mean, let's just be honest. Think about all that. I mean, you've been doing this for 44 years of your life. Now you got to give that up. You got to rehash. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
I mean,
It's a lot.
I mean, immediately too.
Oh yeah.
Because without communication, it's over.
Correct.
Well, speaking for myself, I got married young and divorced young, but in that, I learned quickly that this ain't mama house no more. Mm-hmm. Yes, I was out there in the streets doing my own thing, young and wild and free. Now I'm getting married, so it's gonna be a few changes. Everything ain't my way. Yeah. I'm gonna have to make some compromises. Sometimes I ain't gonna like them. But for the betterment of the marriage,
yes,
and the coming together,
yes,
I'm gonna have to say, okay, it ain't about me.
That's right.
It's about us.
Yes.
There's no I in we.
Yes.
And there's no I in team.
Yes.
Yep.
That's absolutely. Woo! So you always come in and just give that good word. Thank you.
But that's because I live it.
Yeah.
I've lived this. I'm not gonna try to make myself sound like I've been around here 45, 50 years, but I'm only 42. A lot of people say I have an old soul, but I live it.
Absolutely.
And these are the things that I try to pass on to my children.
Yes.
And even in the relationship I'm in now with this young lady, I still am learning, again, after being single for so long, how to try to say it ain't just you.
Yes.
You have to consider somebody else. Even though you and the mother of your children are not together anymore, what decisions you make and everything you do, you have to look at, how does this affect other people in my life?
Yes.
How does this affect my children? How does this affect my lady?
Yes.
What does God think about the choice I made?
Yes,
you know,
sir. Yes, sir.
You have to go to him first, but as in this flesh, a lot of times we don't.
Yeah.
But then when we realize, we're like, hey, okay, God, look, I made this choice. Apparently it was wrong. Now what do I do?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So good.
And you just said the pivotal stuff right there. I love how you tied in, the relational aspects, but then we talking about or relationship aspects, but then also I love how you threw in, and what does God think about it? And that's the very thing that we're trying to get at. As much as we consider all the folks around us, and what they feel and how our actions affect them, is the very same way we should be saying, but what about God?
And that should be the first one.
It should be the first one, because as much as you love this beautiful lady sitting in here, she has no heaven or hell to put you in. No eternity to offer you.
Just love.
Yep. And just love and no peace outside of herself to give you. None of that. And so we have got to be the same exact way we consider how our actions affect others, and so then we deny ourselves, like you say, I can't be coming and going, doing this and that and the third. We have to do that. And so I just want to let y'all know, if anybody's read 5 love languages, Christ's love language is acts of service. Denying yourself is truly an act of service. And bringing around my husband, the fact that he would give up solitude, for me, is truly an act of love. In the not the same way, an even bigger thing, in the same way, in the bigger way that God gave up his son. You see what I'm saying? So that denied his son so that we could have. That's a very, very, very powerful thing. That's a very powerful thing. So you used this word for point number 2 on Sunday. And I felt really attacked when you used it. But here's point number 2. There are no Flexitarian followers.
Yeah.
If you don't know what a Flexitarian is, he was talking about me on Sunday, and no, I'm not. I don't pretend to be a vegetarian. However, what I decided at the beginning of the year was that I was going to be pescatarian, and not because I don't like meat. I love it, but that's a problem. But meat don't like me, and so I felt very attacked when you were talking about, so what a flexitarian is, for those who do not know, is someone who has embraced another dietary lifestyle, like being a vegetarian or like being a pescatarian, and they do it until they don't do it. So they enjoy the lifestyle, but they're not committed to it. And I felt very attacked because I reflected back to my husband and I went out of town a couple weeks ago, and he was just he was bragging on how I've been doing so good about just eating my little fish and my veggies, right? But we were going for like an event. We were going for somebody's big birthday extravaganza, right? So I did real good, eating my little fish and whatnot. We get to the extravaganza. Oh, it was worse than chicken.
Oh, ribs?
Oh, yeah. See, one thing I can't resist is good old rib. So in my cocktail dress, I had a plate full, y'all, of rib tips. I did. And there ain't nothing about that. And they were just looking at me like, thought Jeff said you was pescatarian. You've been doing real good. So I'm a flexitarian, and I don't like that. But anyway, there are no. I felt attacked. I felt embarrassed a few weeks ago, and I felt attacked on Sunday.
Before I leave here today, make sure you get my number from Tanya so your husband can call me and keep me intact. Because I was supposed to be going on a pescatarian diet for the next couple of months.
We both were.
And this your lovely lady of mine said she would do it with me. I keep feeling. I had pork today, and I had cut pork completely out of my diet. But a good Cuban is just.
I don't know what I'm gonna do for the summer. I get it. It's the summertime. This is when I'm supposed to eat my pork. So.
Not this summer.
So I've had more cheat days than commitment days. And then when I'm with my babies, and they come to spend time with daddy, I use that as a cheat day as well. Even though my little baby, he loves fish. He'll eat it baked, fried, grilled, air fried, whatever. He'll do that, and the vegetables. Yeah, he ate up something that was given to me as a gift. There was some good cooked fish. He was like, well, I want this. I said, okay, we'll go ahead and eat it. So that, and even in that, with that, let's just say you just stepped all over my toes with that testimony.
Yep, I told you, it was me too. I ain't gonna lie to you, but yeah. So we can't. In other news, you cannot be Rachel pretending to be a pescatarian. Let's just call a spade a spade. Okay? Let's just call it what it is. That's a flexitarian. You cannot live this follower life just embracing the parts that you feel like doing. You like the life, you like the concept of it, but there's some certain stuff you don't like, or you only want to do it when you feel like it. That is not the definition of denial of oneself. That is not a sacrifice. Now, again, like I said last week in the life group, we all sin and fall short of the glory of God. That is not a pass. That's not a pass to fall short, but it does let you know that there is grace for your falling short. But we ought to be striving. Our intention should be to succeed. Our intention should be to, please God in all things, to do our very
Be Christ-like.
Yes,
Yeah.
to be
Ain't hard.
Christ-like.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have got to
He
get
never
rid
said
of.
it was gonna be easy to be Christ-like.
Absolutely.
He never
Absolutely.
told us it'd be easy. He just said it. He just said
Just
keep
do it.
going.
Yes.
Be like Nike. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yes. Yes. But we cannot have this conditional practice of Christian living. We cannot do that. We can't put conditions on God. We are in no position
Yeah.
to put any conditions
We're
on the
not.
relationship we have with God.
Total commitment. I like what page 148 says in reading the fine print.
Yes.
I cut out on the sermon on the Sunday. I had it in there, but I just cut across the field. But I want to read this. For many Christians, the concept of denying themselves was not part of the deal. They grew up with the message that such a radical decision really isn't necessary. And so what happens here is so they signed up to follow Jesus, but if denying themselves was part of the explanation, it was definitely not the fine print. That's especially true for American Christians, which that's a whole other story because really look at how Christianity is, but the true essence is this is not it. In part, this is due to the collision of Christianity with American capitalism. It has created a culture of consumers in our churches. Instead of approaching their faith with a spirit of denial that says, what can I do for Jesus? They have a consumer mentality that says, what can Jesus do for me? And then on the flip side, you see that through their actions. It's just almost like, you better be glad I'm here.
Right.
You know, I'm doing this, that, and other things. So that point right there, for me personally, that point right there, you know, we supposed to come to worship to give,
Yes.
serve through our time, energy, and, you know, through our worship. Not to, you know, we always go to worship, I'm going to get this out of this, I'm going to get that out of that. But what about giving to God?
Yes.
Through all the week, what he's been giving to us.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We have got to get there. Yeah, absolutely.
And y'all pushed through the rain.
I
know?
just pushed through rain. His body been attacking me. Like,
Yeah.
And
Yes,
she
we may have
kept,
prayed
and
after
she
this.
kept asking me, "Oh yeah, I need it." But she kept asking me, "You sure you want to go?" I said, "I'm going.
Yes.
I need it."
Yes.
In the rain, Rachel.
In the rain.
Body not feeling good.
Body not feeling great. That is the essence of when
Of
we
a
talking
follower.
about being a follower.
Yep.
Because despite whatever's going on, God don't stop blessing us. He does not say, Rachel, you know, Quentin got a lot going on right now, so I'm going to come back to you, get back with you about what you need. Like, he literally multitasks us all and gives us the same level of attention, love, and grace. And that was a sacrifice. That is the definition of what we're talking about. That is an excellent, excellent, excellent
In all
example.
transparency, today, and I didn't tell her because I didn't want her to worry. I had a slip and fall, and I was stuck between my bathtub and my toilet because I get muscle spasms in my right leg pretty bad. So I called EMS. They came. They helped me up. They were like, "Do you want to go to the hospital?" I said, "No, just let me sit on my bed. I'll be fine." And everything came to me like trying to just stay home, be cool, tell time you know what's going on. I said, "No, I'm going. I need this. I need to be more in his presence around people like me with my queen." So I'm coming.
I like that. With my queen, too.
And so we have zero excuse, basically.
No.
After that, I'm like, oh, Lord, I need to do better. I need to do better. Let me tell the same story. Guess what? I already told y'all. This self-care boundaries mess has me really giving me permission to bail with the quickness. That would have took that out. So praise God for your heart, for your spirit. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Absolutely. And so along those lines, because you've given us a great example of that sacrifice. Being a true follower, and there was a word in this chapter, y'all, that we don't much like to talk about. It's that S word. Woo, y'all, they got to talking about slavery in chapter 10. Y'all read about that already? Yeah, woo.
Yep.
But you know what? Being a true follower means voluntary slavery. It is truly being a slave to this life with Christ. And what they called it, and they made the Kyle Idleman made the distinction is that it's a bond slave, or as the Bible says, a bond servant, which means a person who volunteered for that. I decided that my life is better serving Christ than it is to not.
Right.
And so I am going to give up everything I have and all that I am and all that I think, and I'm going to devote myself to Christ. That's what it means. Being a true follower, as ugly as the word is, and that word just makes me itch. You know, it is being a slave to this life.
It's a life of servitude.
Yes, it is. It's a life of servitude. It means the devotion of your life to one being, one cause, one perspective, one philosophy. That's what being a slave is. That thing, and then that thing, whatever that thing is, and we hope that it's Christ. In this context, we certainly hope that it's Christ, becomes your identity. Becomes your identity. Which leads me to my third point, which wasn't in the book, but the Spirit laid it on my heart. So I'm going to give it to you.
Spit this fire.
And it also had me feeling really, really attacked, Lord. I felt really attacked. He said to me, if you're not a slave to Christ, you're a slave to something.
Good night. Doors in the church are open.
And I don't want to play this game no more.
Doors in the church are open. In fact, watch this. There you go. Doors in the church are open. If you need to join our family right now, there it is right there. That's enough.
Cut over. Like, I don't even, like, we don't.
That's cute. Cut the lights off.
Right.
Listen, I put the join our family on there.
It's on there.
It's on there. You thought I was playing? It's on there.
The invitation to discipleship is on the screen.
It's on there.
Like,
Literally.
it is. Because you know what? Like, I so convicted, y'all. Like, because let me tell you what I'm not gonna do is say something like that on my own, because I don't want to hear that. Like, I already know. Like,
What's the truth though?
but you know what? Here's the honest to goodness truth. We all have that thing. Insert whatever that thing is. That motivates or fuels us, drives our intentions. And guides our intentions, and drives our lives. And it should be Jesus. It absolutely is supposed to be Jesus. But remember, a few chapters ago, we were to take a personal inventory of our lives. What do I give most of my time to? Where does most of my money go to? Oh, that was the last time we were here, wasn't it? That sure was. Yeah. So if Jesus is not getting most of any of that, well, that might not be what we're a slave to.
I just heard the Spirit say, if you stop running from me and give all of you to me as I gave all of me to you, you won't lose.
Yes.
And then I loudly heard him say, stop shortchanging me, because I never shortchanged you.
Woo! Now you can put the thing back up on the screen for there. Stop shortchanging God, y'all.
That's a word.
And we didn't say it. He said he heard it from the Lord. He just put it in his ears. So don't be trying to come after Chauncey.
No.
But that's it. We got to stop shortchanging God, and we do that when it's called idolatry. Idolatry, excuse me, forgot the A. That's exactly what that is. If anything besides God gets our attention, if we are a slave to anything else, it could be your job. It could be money. It could be other people's expectations. It could be one of those 7 deadly sins: pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, me with that pork, wrath, and
It could be the people you love right in your house.
it can be, absolutely. And slothfulness, which is laziness or apathy. Those are deadly sins. You know why they're deadly? Because they separate us from God.
From the will of God. That's it.
They separate us. And so...
And it's contrary of the word.
Absolutely.
Right.
So contradictory.
Bible says be diligent.
Yes.
In all things. You know?
Yes. So I can't be a sloth then, huh?
That kind can't be sloth. Me neither, though. Me neither.
Yeah, and I got we're going to talk about that slothful spirit. I'm going to work on that. But seriously, though,
Well, you got Joe Clark right there telling you.
I got a lot of Joe Clarks in my life, honestly. But seriously, if it's not Christ, it is more than likely 9.75 times out of 10, it's a sin.
Yeah.
If you're not a slave to Christ, you're a slave to something else. You are totally a slave to something else. So the quote that I want to end my portion of this evening is, they gave me a little hope, or it's a mantra, let me say, that we all should have. Being a true follower means saying the following: everything I have, everything I am, I sign over to you, Lord. Everything I have, everything I am, I sign over to you. Have me. I'm a slave to and for you, to your will, to your way, to your purpose. I'm going to get it wrong,
Yeah. but
you already know that. And I thank you for walking me through that moment and not leaving or forsaking me in that. So we've got still work to do, y'all. There's work to do behind this chapter, right? We certainly got some things to be thinking about in the way of, have we ever denied ourselves?
Yes.
If you have denied yourself, are you actively denying yourself?
Yeah, the consistency.
Because consistency
That's
really
the big-
doesn't
that's the
love
big
that.
thing.
Consistency is the key. You know, I denied myself all the other meats except for fish for like 3 months. And that's good. And then I fell way off. And guess what? One fall off leads to another and another and another and another if we're not careful. So a word that I keep using in our time together is intentional.
Yes.
We must
Yes.
be intentional. When you open your eyes in the morning, you literally may need to be saying out loud, I intend to please God today.
Yeah.
I intend to serve you today.
Yeah.
I intend to build your kingdom today.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, I intend to deny everything in me that is not like you.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
The point blank and the period.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Y'all, what a blessing. What a blessing. Y'all tonight, thank God for everybody that stayed with us on tonight. We pray that this bless you. Y'all give it up for Rachel again. She did her thing. I mean, for real. She did her thing. This is convicting all of us. It's convicting, but it's also pushing us closer to Christ. That's what it's all about, y'all. You know, I mean, that's just it. And I want to say to those y'all here being here tonight, thank y'all, because y'all show. It's good to see people who are committed to Christ.
Yes. Yes.
And it's more than just on a Sunday
Yes.
when the lights and camera action's on. It's more so due to 24/7, 365. So thank y'all for being here
One of my
on
spiritual
the
mothers
season.
used to say, you can always tell who the sons of God are. They're the people that will show up when it's not Sunday.
Yep.
Or if it is Sunday, those are the people who come back to the evening service. The ones that's not gonna say, well, I went to church today, so I ain't gotta go back. Yeah, it's Wednesday, but I went Sunday, so I don't have to go Wednesday. The ones who show up when everybody else is saying, well, this is more important.
I just thank God for everybody, whether you're in person today, whether you're at home. Thank you for being present.
Yes.
Y'all hung in there. I know y'all hung in there. So God bless you all, wherever you may be across town. Listen, Hendersonville, those on the north side of town, your life group is going to be on this Thursday at 7 p.m. at the library. So just remind y'all of that. Invite some people out. Let's remain consistent. I know the weather is nice and everything else, but come on, y'all. Remain consistent. The truth of the matter is, it's summer here and it's winter somewhere else. So the season is always changing, and whatever it may be. Listen, we'll put up some giving links for y'all if y'all want to give tonight. This is talking about being a follower. Boom, there you have it. It's on your screen tonight. We're so grateful for all you all, even on this evening that are rocked on. Those who are on YouTube as well, and on Facebook. Yeah, we're pushing both sides of the fence, y'all. We getting it out there, man. We're trying to get the gospel out there. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
So God bless you all. And listen, this Sunday, invite somebody to come worship with you in person. We're not all day long. We really not.
No.
This is about the length of our service, with all the music, all the preaching, everything else. And we're expecting God to do something. I asked the church to do something on Sunday at our stated address. I'm asking for really just everybody that can and will that will just pray for our church,
Yes.
pray for the culture, pray for the growth.
Yes.
Pray that God manifests Himself in that place, and we would have even more followers, such as your blessed self as well, followers of Christ. So seriously, I'm asking you those online too. This goes for y'all too as well. Please pray every day for 7 minutes. I'm saying 7 minutes because 7 is the number of completion. And
Yes.
we're believing God to complete some things and do some miraculous things in the month of May. I'm believing this month is our month of miracles. I really am. I believe in God for something great. That's just this month. I really am. I really am. April was great, but I think it can get even better with God.
Miracle Man.
Yeah, Miracle
Hey,
Man.
I like that.
Yep.
Yes,
Month of Miracle
Miracle
Man.
Man.
Love y'all. I hope y'all have a good night. We got some praying to do in here. So y'all have a
Yes.
blessed night.